All right, shalom, shalom. You highly welcome today, my brothers and sisters. I'm glad that you just clicked to watch this message today. Today, I'm going to be doing a very, very important lesson, which I would like you to pay very close attention to, and it's going to be in regards to the book of Galatians, because the book of Galatians, there's a lot of things that is contained therein, which I would like my brothers and sisters to really pay a very good attention to. Because there's a lot of mysteries that is going to be, that through the ruach of Yahushua, you're going to be seeing and understanding the real mysteries of what is contained therein. So before I proceed, I would like you to really understand what the book of Galatians is all about. The book of Galatians is a letter that Apostle Shaul, after his convert into the real knowledge of truth, wrote to the people of Galatians. And the reason why he wrote it to them is to be able to cheer them up, to be able to give them a very higher knowledge and encouragement, to be able to uplift them into a different dimensional realm. And that was the reason why he picked so much interest in order to write that letter that he wrote to them. So this letter to the Galatians is very, very important. And this is the reasons why I would like us to go into the study about the letter that he wrote to them. And I'm going to be explaining a lot of things that Apostle Shaul said while he was writing this letter, because we're going to be reading through this letter that he wrote to these brethren who are of the Galatians. Because this is deep. There's a lot of deep mysteries. There's a lot of deep things that touches the heart of Apostle Shaul, which he really from the bottom of his heart, he needed to share it with these brethren. And he needed to deal with some certain things which needed to be dealt with, so that those people, those brethren whom he is writing to, will really understand the kind of message or the kind of thing that Apostle Shaul is being sent in order to do. The aim of Apostle Shaul is nothing but more to be able to elevate these brothers, the brethren. And that is the point of his letter too, in order to uplift them to the point whereby even they themselves, unless their spiritual inner mind is being opened, might not be able to understand the magnitude of what Apostle Shaul was doing on their behalf. And this is why when he wrote this letter, he wrote it from the bottom of his heart. And this is why I would like us to just take a look at the letter that Apostle Shaul wrote to the people of Galatians. So we go right forth into the book of Galatians chapter number 1 from verse number 1. The Bible says, Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man, but by Yahushua HaMashiach. You need to be able to understand something. The Bible is telling us something here, that this is Paul, that he is not an apostle of men. So if you are under apostleship of men, you would not understand the things that Apostle Shaul is saying. Why? Because he was not sent to be able to do what? To nature man. He does not speak like a man. He speaks as a spirit being, because the one that is in him is a spirit. So he speaks through the inspiration of what is inside of him. And so this is the reason why the first verse in this chapter of the book of Galatians tells us that Apostle Paul is an apostle not of man. So if you are a man, you would not be able to understand what Apostle Shaul is saying. So he equally was not being sent by man. So there is no way man can understand something that is of the spirit. Man can only understand something of man, and the spirit beings understand both the things of man and the things of the spirit. You need to be able to understand this. So the Bible says here that Apostle Paul, not of men, neither by man, but by Yahushua HaMashiach and Elohim the Father, who raised him from what? From the dead. And all the brethren which are with me unto the churches of Galatia, Grace be to you and peace from Elohim, the Father, and from our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach, who gave himself for our sins, that he might deliver us from the present evil world, that he might deliver. You need to be able to understand what Apostle Shaul said. Yahushua gave himself. He did not offer anything. He did not offer a goat or a ram or whatsoever on behalf of whatsoever. He gave himself for us. Listen to what he said. He said he gave himself for our sin, not for his own sin, but for our sin. Sins, that he might deliver us from this present evil world. This is key. So his giving up himself is to be able to liberate, elevate, raise, resurrect us from this evil world. So he offered his own self. Listen to what the book said. According to the will of Elohim and our Father. This is the will of Elohim, that somebody will make sacrifice with his own life. And not with all these ram, goat, and all these things. Those things does not move no mighty ones. Those things of ram, goat, and all these things do not move our Heavenly Father. That is the reason why he says that your solemnity, your killing of an animal, your shedding of blood, sacrifice, all, I cannot see it any longer. Those things I'm wary about it. I cannot handle them. They are nothing to me. This is what the Bible led us to understand. They are nothing to me. Stop bringing all these vain oblations. All these new moons, all this Shabbat of a thing, all this nonsense which you people are bringing. These things are nothing. If you want to make a sacrifice, you have to do it your own self. This is what he is trying to let us know here, that Yahushua made the sacrifice with his own life on behalf of the people whom he came in order to liberate. Now listen to what the Bible says here. And he did this to give glory and esteem to our Heavenly Father. Listen to what the Bible says. I marvel. This is Apostle Shaul talking now. He said, I marvel that you be so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Mashiach unto another gospel. Why are you people so taken away very easily? I mean, this is something that if you did not understand the magnitude of what is going on, you are in a place, in a situation whereby somebody comes and tells you something different, try to twist up your mind. Why? Because you are not well rooted in the knowledge of truth. And one of a sudden, that individual takes sneakily, serpent-wise, takes you away from the knowledge of truth. How come are you so easily being removed? How come are you so easily being removed? Now, Apostle Shaul is going to tell the people of the Galatians where they were being removed to and how these things happened. This is one thing about Apostle Shaul, because he's writing this letter from the bottom of his heart in order to really show them the depth of what is in his heart. He's pouring it out to the people of Galatians. He said that he is really, really in touch. He is really, really marveling at the rate at which these people are easily being removed from whom have called them unto the gospel of Mashiach. In verse 7, which is not other, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Mashiach. Some are perverting the gospel of Mashiach. So he's trying to paste a warning to the people. He's trying to show them that there are people who are perverting. This is what he's trying to do, to show them that there are people who are trying to pervert the real gospel, the real knowledge of truth, the real gospel of truth, which was being brought divinely, which came through Yahushua. So there are some who are among the people, but they are trying to pervert this message of truth. Now listen to what Apostle Shaul said to these people of Galatians. He said, but though we, who are we? Apostle Shaul is saying, although we, which means he is talking about the apostles, which is they, the apostles. although we, the apostles, or an angel, the angels, the messengers, from heaven, not even from earth, from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached. Even if it is they, the apostles, or angels from heaven, anybody, let him be anybody that should preach something that is different from the real gospel which they have preached from the beginning, or which Yahushua brought from the beginning, then than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. So if you try, even if you are an angel and you preach something that is different, you are going to be accursed. As we said before, so say I now again. If any man preach any other gospel unto you than that you have received, let him be accursed. Let that individual be accursed. For though now, this is where Apostle Shaul is now going deeper and be able to really show these brethren something that is what? A mystery on its own. He said here in verse number 10, for do I now talk about himself? Do I now persuade men or Elohim? Am I here to be able to do what? To persuade or to please man? Or the one that sent me, or Elohim? Because remember, in verse number 1, the Bible says that what? Apostle Paul is an apostle not of men. But what? But not of men, neither sent by men, but through Yahushua, which are for the spirits. Now listen to what he said. For do I now persuade men or Elohim, or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Mashiach. What? Did you really understand that? He said that, for if I yet please men, I should not be the servant. So he does not care about how the feelings of the people are. What he cares about is to be able to do what? To give it to them raw, which is the truth. And let them be the one to handle, to be able to do what? To deal with the facts of what he has presented to them. Now listen to what he said in verse number 11. But I satisfy you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. This is what he's saying. That the things that is being preached or is being taught through him is not of man. It does not come through man. Listen to verse 12. For I neither receive of it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach. Now you need to be able to understand something. Apostle Shaul was somebody who got a revelation while he was still in the religion of the Jews. Like I said, his eyes was being shut at a certain stage until a higher revelation came to him. And when this higher revelation came to him, Apostle Shaul could not, withhold himself by staying under the religion of his fathers, which was the religion of the Jews. So he followed the call of the heavenly calling. So Apostle Shaul, everything that is now leading him, remember when he was on his way to Damascus, the voice that came to him, which came to him in the Hebrew tongue, was a language that came to him in the purest language. Remember, he said that what? The light that shined to him shined, and it was brighter than the sun. Overstand. Use your thinking faculty, my brethren. He said that it is brighter than the sun, which tells you that what? A higher revelation than the one that he used to know. So since that time, he has been following that higher revelation. And remember, the one that called Apostle Shaul is who? He said that I heard the voice spoke to me in the Hebrew tongue and said to me, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I said, who art thou, master? And he said, I am Yahushua. So the revelation came to him in the Hebrew tongue. Oh my goodness, you need to be able to understand what am I saying. Because I give you mysteries, my dear brothers and sisters. Now he said that what?
everything that he is saying that he's coming of him is not coming from man. It is coming through that revelation of who? Of Yahushua. This is deep. This is deep. This is deep, my dear brothers and sisters. You need to be able to understand what is going on. He said, for ye have heard of my conversations in the time past. Of course. Didn't you hear how Apostle Shaul did all he did? In the midst of all the religion that he was in, which is the religions of the Jews. So he did a lot of things. Why? Because he was so zealous. He was so adamant in trying to protect the value, in trying to protect the religion of his fathers. But when this revelation of a higher calling came to Apostle Shaul could not restrain, could not be able to do what? To tame what is, the higher calling. That is why he's saying, for you people have heard my conversation in time past in the Jews' religion. What is the Jews' religion? The religion of being under the law, under the Torah. Which Apostle Shaul was somebody who was so adamant, who was so committed in trying to protect the dignity, the power, that is to say the authority that is contained inside of this, the law of Moses. So he said that you people knew about it, isn't it? He said, listen to what he said, how he played his life in that religion. In that religion of what? In that religion of them Jews. He said, how that beyond measure it is Apostle Shaul giving a testimony of the actions that he did. So he is saying how that beyond measure Apostle Shaul is talking now, saying that he persecuted the church of Elohim and did what? And wasted it. He was very fervent, very active. And then he wasted it. He persecuted the people of the early apostles. He persecuted the people of the followers of Yahushua. He persecuted those who were following the truth at the time when he was under the religion of the Jews. He persecuted the people who were following Yahushua. Until the call came to him. My goodness, you need to be able to understand what is going on. Until the call came to him. And while he was still in that religion of the Jews, listen to what the Bible said. While he was still there causing all those things, he said, verse 14, and profited in the Jews' religion above many my equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the tradition of my father. So he was very, very, very zealous to keeping to the tradition of his fathers, which was the religion he was being born to. The religion talk about the religion of going back under the law of Moses, or being in the law of Moses, trying to keep that religion of Judaism. He said he was more zealous of the tradition of his father, but when it pleased Elohim. Listen to what happened, what he said here. When it pleased Elohim, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace. When it pleased Elohim, who separated me from the womb and called me by his grace to reveal, you need to be able to understand, to reveal his son in me, in him, inside of Apostle Shaul. The revelation of who Yahushua is, the persecution, the people whom he is persecuting, was being revealed inside of him. Listen to what he did. He said, to reveal his son in me, that I might preach him. You see, the same person he was persecuting, that he, Apostle Shaul, might preach, the person who was being revealed in him might preach him among the heathen. So the people whom he has been persecuting, now Elohim revealed that persecution, that people whom he has been persecuting, that is to say the followers of Yahushua, he revealed to Apostle Shaul those people inside of Apostle Shaul. And listen to what Apostle Shaul did immediately. He said, immediately I conferred not with the flesh and blood. What does that mean? He said the moment that the revelation of Yahushua came to him, he did not waste a second to be able to do what? To continue to be in what? In flesh and blood, in a literal sense, under that particular religion that has been tying them down. But what did Apostle Shaul do? He now picked up to the higher calling because he had seen a higher revelation. And this higher revelation, higher calling of the heavenly calling, which is higher, is where he has been trying to do what? To uplift the people of the Galatians. Not only the Galatians, but as many as are going to receive the testimony which he is given. Now listen to what he said in verse number 17. He said, neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me. Oh my goodness, did you really understand what took place here now? He said the moment the revelation came to him, he did not go to Jerusalem because that was where it was happening. That was where Yahushua had his own disciples. That was where things were going on there. People like Peter, people like James, people like John, these people were active in those places, in those hubs. And these people were apostles even before Apostle Shaul. So, but Apostle Shaul had a higher revelation, just the same way, the same revelation that Apostle Peter had, that was being given to Apostle Peter. Apostle Shaul equally got it on a separate occasion. So he did not decide to do what? To go to Jerusalem at the moment, but he continued where he was. Now listen to, because there were people who have been into what? Into this ministry, into this heavenly calling before Apostle Shaul. Apostle Shaul came after. So what he is saying is that at the moment that he came to this revelation, these things blew up his mind. So there were people who have been into what? Into this, whom the same Apostle Shaul has been persecuting them. When he was in the Jewish religion, he was persecuting the people who were followers of Yahushua. Now listen to what he said. He said, when these things came, neither went I up to Jerusalem to them that were apostles before me, but I went into Arabia and returned again unto Damascus. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem. This is after 3 years. Things happened after 3 years. I went to see Peter and abode with him 15 days, which is 2 weeks. Talk about Apostle Shaul now going to meet the chief of the ones that the mantle was being committed to, because Apostle Peter was the person that the mantle was being handed over. So he needed to do what? He needed to meet Apostle Peter. So he went to be able to do what? He went to Jerusalem in order to meet Peter in Jerusalem, because this is the place where they are. He said after it took him 3 years. 3 years. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days. But other of the apostles saw I none, save James, the master's brother. Talk about the brother of Yahushua. Now the things which I write unto you, behold, before Elohim I lie not. This is telling you that he is writing it from his heart. These things are coming out from his heart to be able to really pour and tell you the reality of what is really taking place within him. He cannot withhold these things inside of himself. So he needed to pour it out to the people who have ears to hear, who need to spiritually grow. They have to grow. Afterward, I came into the region of Syria and Cilicia after spending 15 days with Apostle Peter. He now went back to the place of Syria and Cilicia. Verse 22, and was unknown by face unto the churches of Judea, which were in Mashiach. So what he's saying here is that the time that he got to the people, the churches in Judea, so in those areas, they did not know him. They did not know who he is. But they must have heard that there is somebody who was persecuting them before. And that individual, the main core people who are persecuting them, the same person have turned out to be their follower, the follower of the same thing that he was persecuting them on. So this is when, this is why he said that they did not know him by face. But listen to what he said in the next verse. He said, but they had heard only that he which persecuted us in time past now preacheth the faith which once he destroyed. So talking about Apostle Paul. So they just heard, but they have not seen him before. Now in verse 24, and they glorify Elohim in me. So now in chapter number 2, this is something that you need to be able to understand. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm just giving you a better, real deep clarification of what is really taking me. There's a lot of things that is contained. But we're just picking some certain things to be able to reveal to you, my dear brothers and sisters, the missions, the things, the letter, the writings of Apostle Shaul, which he wrote to the people of Galatians. Because these things are things which is in his mind, which he needed to pour out to the brethren who are growing up in order to, number one, encourage these people, lift them up, to let them know that this work is something that is what it is, spiritual warfare. It is not something that is a child's play game. Listen to what the Bible says here. He said, then 14 years after I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas, 14 good years, and took Titus with me also. And I went up by revelation and communicated unto them that gospel which I preached among the Gentiles. So I had to communicate unto them that gospel which I preached among the Gentiles. So you see, there is a message that he is preaching among the Gentiles. So Apostle Paul said that message that he is preaching among the Gentiles is the same message that he wanted to do what? To communicate to the people in Jerusalem. Get it? Apostle Shaul for 14 good years has been proclaiming, have been preaching a gospel among the Gentiles. So after that 14 years, he came back to Jerusalem. Remember with the people, the home of the people where Jerusalem is. Peter is there. James is there. John is there. The top apostles who started even before. The people who were with Yahushua, who were grooving with Yahushua. So, and Apostle Shaul received his own after the resurrection of Yahushua. This is deep. You need to be able to understand what happened. It was after 14 years that Apostle Shaul came back to Jerusalem. And then when he came back to Jerusalem, he wanted to communicate with the people in Jerusalem about what he has been teaching the people for all these 14 years in other places. Now, are you going to say something deep here? He's about to meet he's about to meet something deep here, because you need to be able to understand the people whom he is going to meet now, the group whom he is going to meet now are the people who started this, this race, who were with Yahushua before him. So now he has been teaching something for 14 good years, and now he is bringing the same message which he has been teaching among the other people to bring it to Jerusalem in order to communicate with the people in Jerusalem now and to be able to show you what is going to take place now. Listen to what is going to take place now as we read along in this particular passage, because this is going to be a very big scene now. Something is about to take place. Listen to what the Bible says here. And I went up
by revelation and communicated unto them that gospel which I preached among the Gentiles, but privately. So Apostle Paul had a message which he's teaching among the Gentiles. So now he came back to Jerusalem in order to teach, in order to share that same message that he's teaching among the Gentiles, among the brethren which are in what? In Jerusalem. But he did not just go openly, but then listen to how he went. He said, the Bible said he went but privately to them which were of reputation. So he did not just communicate with any kind of person, but to the people who are of reputation. Who are the people who are of reputation? The apostles, the leaders of the people in this race. Man, you need to be able to understand what is taking place here. He said, of the people who are of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain. So this is time he came back and then he communicated with them. He met the reputable people. Now listen to what happened. Now remember, these people that he's talking to were the people who began, who were with Yahushua, some of which were with Yahushua, literally. Verse number 3 says, but neither Titus, who was with me. So while Apostle Shaul was coming, he came with Titus, who is his own convert, whom he brought from the place where he converted him. So he brought him along with him, and Titus, being a Greek, being somebody from another place, Apostle Shaul won this soul and brought him together with him to Jerusalem. But something is about to play out here now. And this is what Apostle Shaul is trying to do. Really, the sin which Apostle Shaul created here is very deep in the mind of the people who really need to grow spiritually, to see the kind of things that is really going on in the spirit realm, brothers and sisters out there. So he took Titus with him. So the Bible says, but neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised. Wait a minute, something is going on here. Who are the people trying to compel Titus to be circumcised? Is it not the same people who were in Jerusalem? Why are they trying to compel Titus to be circumcised? Because to Apostle Shaul, this is not the right message which was being taught by the Spirit of life that spoke to him also. Because by you trying to compel Titus to be circumcised, which means you are drawing him back under the tradition of Abraham or under the tradition of your forefathers. You are trying to bring somebody who is a Greek and push him under the tradition of the Hebrews. So something is about to take place here. So because Titus, who is a Greek now, they are now trying to compel him to do what? To be circumcised. Now listen to what is going on here. And that because of the false brethren. So he said that when these people try to compel Titus to be circumcised, which is the false brethren, unawares brought in. This is because of some people who are among the brethren, in Jerusalem. The people who are among them, the people that entered among them, tried to do these things. Listen to what happened. Who came in privately to spy out our liberty, which we have in Yahushua HaMashiach, that they might bring us into what? Into bondage. So they came in this form. In order, they've infiltrated. So they are trying to use this means in order to enslave a people who are not of the Hebrew descent. But listen to what Apostle Shaul did. Because you need to be able to understand what is taking place here, my dear brothers and sisters out there. The moment that these people tried to compel Titus, listen to what Apostle Shaul did. He said, the moment he realized what was going on, he said, to whom we gave place by subjection, no, not for 1 hour, not for an hour. We did not, Apostle Shaul said that he did not even give them no chance. Why? That the truth of the gospel might continue with you. So that the truth will continue for eternity. Listen to what the book said. But of these
who seems to be somewhat, whatsoever they are, it maketh no matter to me. Elohim accepted no man's person. For they who seems to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. So some people who have infiltrated, and some who are even there trying to do what, force somebody who is not of Abraham descent to be circumcised. Those people who are trying to pull people from their way into the law of circumcision, into another bondage, bring them out from somewhere to be able to push them under another bondage. Apostle Shaul is telling them that these people, he did not care about who they are, their status, or whatsoever position these people own. That what he's going to do is, he's standing in order for the truth to be what it is. That is very plain. He stood for the truth for everything. He gave it up. He gave everything up for the truth's sake. So he stood on the ground for the truth's sake on behalf of these people of other countries who the Hebrews are trying to do what? Enslave. People like the Grecians. Apostle Shaul stood on their behalf, which Titus is one of them. Now listen to what happened here. He said in verse number, so you see that he did not care about the caliber of those people who were in Jerusalem at the time, although he went and met with the reputable one. But when he realized that those people who have been infiltrated, man, he give no damn about what is going on, because he knew that they were being infiltrated. They have been infiltrated. Because there were people who infiltrated them in order to spy the liberty of the people. But he, Apostle Shaul, remember, he has already went out, and there he has been walking for 14 good years before he came back to Jerusalem. And coming back to Jerusalem, the mission which has already started in Jerusalem has been infiltrated, diluted by some certain people who infiltrated that place. And those people are the ones who are trying to do what? To enslave other nations by trying to introduce the circumcision into what? To the people who are coming in. He said, but contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, Apostle Shaul talking here. He said here, as the gospel of circumcision was unto Peter. So the gospel of circumcision was to Peter, and the gospel of uncircumcision was unto Paul. You see these two things that is going on? He said, verse number 8, he said, For he that wrought effectually in Peter to the apostleship of the circumcision, the same was mighty in me towards the Gentiles. You need to bring people from the Gentiles, those people from the outside, from who are not among the commonwealth of the Hebrew nation, from outside into what? Into the place of Yahushua. So, and there are people who are inside of the Hebrew nation who needed to go up higher. So the job of Apostle Shaul is to bring other nations to Yahushua. And the job of Apostle Peter is to bring people, the job of Apostle Shaul is to bring other nations, the Gentiles, which are not among the commonwealth of Hebrew Israelite, to bring them to Yahushua. And the job of Peter is to be able to bring the people who are among the commonwealth of the Hebrew Israelite to Yahushua. So, but what these people are doing is that they are trying to enslave the people who are coming from the side of Apostle Shaul, the people who are uncircumcised in their own eyes. So they are trying to enslave them under the circumcision law. And Apostle Shaul said, you people got to be joking. You people don't know what, you people really know who he is, what his mission is. The mission of circumcision was being committed into the hand. You need to be able to understand this very clearly. That the mission of circumcision was being committed to Peter, which is to say the people who are completely among the Hebrew Israelite. Peter's job is to be able to elevate those people to Yahushua. But Peter is almost being infiltrated. His own mission has already been infiltrated. And Apostle Shaul, the mission of uncircumcision, whether you are circumcised or not, I am here to tell you that you have the same opportunity as the people who are under the commonwealth of Hebrew Israelite. You have the same opportunity to come Yahushua, the same way the people who are under the commonwealth of the Hebrew Israelite have the same opportunity to come to Yahushua. So this is the mission, what is going on. This is the mission of Apostle Shaul. So Apostle Shaul is doing something here. Listen to what he said here. He said, the same one that is effectual in Peter is the same one that is effectual in Apostle Shaul. In verse number 9, he said, and when James, remember James, Caiaphas, which is Peter, and John, who seems to be pillars, perceived the grace that was given unto me. Oh my goodness, these are brethren. This is something is about to clash now, but because of their wisdom, they're about to do what? To lessen something. You need to be able to understand what is taking place here. Now I want you to visualize it this way. Somebody who is coming, from a higher knowledge, a different knowledge of reality, and you are in a place and you have been teaching a lot of things, and this individual is coming with a higher knowledge, and within you, the spirit that is within you is telling you that what this person is saying is right. But because you have already established some certain things which you don't want this individual to use his higher knowledge or his higher revelation to dissert, you are now trying to do something in order to do what? To move that individual so that he can go to another area and continue that mission in that area. So you are going to be helping him to do that thing, but this area, it is your area for your own mission. Now I want to show you what is going on in verse number 9. When James, Caiaphas, John who seems to be pillar, perceived the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me and Barnabas the right hand of the fellowship, that we should go unto the heathen, and they unto the circumcision. You see the separation here now. They saw the kind of mission that was being committed unto the hand of Apostle Paul. So they said to him, you know what? Go to the heathen. Continue this mission over there. And they are going to do what? They are going to go to the people of circumcision. Only they would that we should remember the poor, the same which I also was forward to do. This is the letter that Apostle Shaul is doing what is writing to the brethren, which are in Galatians. Now, in verse number 11 of chapter 2 of Galatians. But when Peter was come to Antioch, now it is time. The separation has come. It's not a matter of separation, but they have, Apostle Paul have gone into his area, which is like to the people, to the unbelievers who he's trying to win. So, and now it is time, Peter, who is the pillar, who is among the pillar of the people who the circumcision was being committed to. Remember, Apostle Paul visited Jerusalem. Now, Peter, who is the pillar of the circumcision, who the pillar was being committed into his hand among the circumcision, he is now visiting the territory that was being committed into the hand of Paul. Now listen to what happened now. I want you to watch the drama of what took place here. Remember, Apostle Paul came into the domain of Peter, and a little clash was about to take place, but they dissolved it very easily. You know what the clash is or was? They are trying to put somebody who is a Greek under what? Under the law of circumcision, which Apostle Paul said, no way, you people can do that, because the mission that is being handed over to him is not about enslaving nobody, but it's about what? Elevating people to freedom of Yahushua, and nobody is going to temper with that freedom. Now, it is time now that Peter now is about to travel to Antioch. Antioch is the territory that belongs to Apostle Paul. Listen to what happened now. But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face. Oh my goodness, what happened? Do you know who Peter is? My goodness. Upon this rock. You know that Peter who always stood by Yahushua and said, you know what, Yahushua, everybody can go, but you see, Peter said he's not going to deny Yahushua. But Yahushua said unto him, you see, 3 times, before the cock crow, you're going to deny 3 times and all these things. You see the way, the zealousness in Peter and everything. Now, Peter, the same Peter, was the one that went into what? Into Antioch. Now, when he went to Antioch, the mantle was being committed into Peter's hand to be able to lead the sheep. Feed my sheep. How many times? Feed my sheep, Peter. Feed my sheep. Stop slumbering. Stop slumbering. Stop slumbering. You came to the mount and you are asleep 3 good times. Stop slumbering, Peter. Stop slumbering. Stop slumbering. But you don't hear. Stop slumbering. So what happened? One of a sudden, Peter now came to Antioch. What is Peter doing in Antioch when Paul is over there? Now listen to what took place now. What took place when Peter went to Antioch? Listen, Bible makes us to understand that what Paul withstood Peter face to face. Why? The Bible is going to tell us why. Because he was to blame. What is he to blame on? I'm going to show you what he is to blame on. I'm going to show you what he is to blame on. What he did that he is to be blamed on. For before that, Satan came from James. He did it with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. And the other Jews disassembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation. Oh my goodness. Something took place here which you need to be able to see spiritually. The moment that they saw Peter, or they saw, their own fellow beings, what happened? They separated themselves from what? From the people who are Greeks. Or they separated from the Gentiles. Trying to play that, oh, you people are different from us in that game. So the moment they wanted to play that game, this thing burned the heart of what? Apostle Shaul. Because he understood that these things go far beyond trying to separate from the same faith. Both faiths are one. So you should treat your brothers and as your sisters, should treat each other as what? As one. Now listen to what happened. But this time they feared other ones and they separated themselves from what? From the ones who are converts now. Listen to what happened. To the extent that everything now, people were surprised. Barnabas also was carried away by their dissimulation at this point. He was like, what is going on? Why are these people behaving like this? Why are these people behaving like this? Oh my goodness. This was during the time of the coming of what? Of Peter to Antioch. Now listen to what happened in verse number 14. But when I saw that they walk not uprightly according to the truth, which people walk not uprightly, the way that these people behave, their behavior was not upright according to the truth. What did I have to do of the truth of the gospel? I said unto Peter, you are the cause of all these things. My goodness, what is really going on here? Can somebody see what I'm saying in the scripture? Is your eyes open to the reality of what I'm saying right here in this scripture? You see what the Bible says here? It says, I said unto Peter before them all, before all these them people, if thou, you Peter, if thou, how come with this kind of action? Because it is your own mission. It is you, through you, under your watch, that this kind of behaviors are going on. If you, Peter, listen to what the Bible say here. I said unto Peter before them all, if thou being a Jew. Who is a Jew? You need to be able to understand who is a Jew. I already told you several times who a Jew are the people who believe in the call of the higher calling. So if Peter is a Jew who believe in the call of a higher calling, how come the followers of Peter, how come the people who are under circumcision are behaving as if putting people under bondage is the best thing? Listen to what he said to them. He said, I said unto Peter before them all, if thou being a Jew, livest after the manner of the Gentiles. You are a Jew. You are somebody who is a convert. You believed in something that is more higher. And now you are living as the Gentiles are living. Tell me, how come you are telling the Gentiles? Listen to what he said. How then now are you trying to tell the Gentiles to be able to come under you? Under the circumcision. Listen to what he said here. If you being a Jew livest after the manner of the Gentiles and not as do the Jews, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as though the Jews? Why come are you trying to tell the Gentiles to live as the Jews? When you as a Jew have something that you are looking up to. Did you see the logic there? Did you see where you applied wisdom in some certain things? You don't just think like an ordinary people, but you think because you are among the chosen. You think because you have this thinking mind to be able to do what, to put it into what, into practice. Ain't nobody restricting you to be able to use the mind which is being given to you. Listen to what the book said here. Apostle Paul was like, what is going on here? Peter, I'm going to blame you for all these things because these things happens under your watch. It happens under your watch because the mission of circumcision was being committed into your hand. So you knew about all these things and you did what? And you slept just the same way that Yahushua went to the mount to pray and you slept and you were asleep. And what happened? You were being infiltrated. Golly, some of you need to see what I'm seeing in the Ruach of Yah. Yahushua showed me everything, how things are happening right in front of people's eyes. He showed it to me through the name of Yahushua. I saw the revelation of everything, what is really taking place. That is the reason why the Bible said, and the Ruach of truth, which is the name Yahushua, is going to teach you all things and bring everything to your remembrance. And today I'm seeing just the same thing that Apostle Shaul, if not more. The same things that Apostle Shaul saw while Apostle Peter was stumbling. He was dozing off. And while he dozed off, what happened? He was being infiltrated. And as a result of the infiltration, he is trying to pull people, the people who are followers of that way now, of that circumcision, are trying to pull the Gentiles under what? Under circumcision, which is a bondage to the people who are supposed to be free. How will somebody understand the mystery, the spirit, the work of the Ruach in the life of those who really are sincere truth seekers? I speak with boldness because I know what I'm telling you. I know I speak nothing but the truth to the spirits of life. And I get to the real knowledge. I give you the real unadulterated truth of this matter. Peter, you came over here and you stood the people who were under you, the people whom you were being asked to. Look at the way these people are behaving. Look at the way they are all behaving. Now listen to what the Bible said to us. He said in verse number 15, we who are Jews by nature, and not sinners of the Gentiles, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law. We have the law that was being given, even the law of Moses. There's a law that is guiding Abraham, during the time of Abraham. We also talk about the law of Moses. He said, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law. Abraham did the work. He has a work, and one of his work was what? Circumcision. But by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, even we have believed in Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might be justified by the faith of Yahushua and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. Peter, did you know about this? Peter, I'm asking you, do you know about this? So how come you're trying to push people? You know about it. How come you're trying to push people under? How come you're trying to allow your people who are under you, to be able to be pulling them under the law of circumcision? And you know that what the justification happened all through faith, which you, Peter, believed in. So you are a step up. Why are you depriving people from going to that step where you went to? To be called a Jew or a natural Jew because you are a believer in something that is more higher. So since you are a believer in something that is more higher, how come you are trying to push people under something that you were being born in when you yourself have left that thing to embrace something that is more higher? I tell you, I give you mysteries. Some of you don't know who I am here on planet Earth. Listen to what the Bible says here. I tell you reality. I tell you real talk of what is going on. Listen to what the Bible says in verse number 17. But if, while we seek to be justified by Mashiach, we ourselves also found sinners, is therefore Mashiach the minister of sin? Elohim forbid. For if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor. For I, through the law, am dead to the law. Through the law, I'm dead to the law, that I might live unto Elohim. Am I crucified with Mashiach? Nevertheless, I live. I am crucified with Mashiach. Nevertheless, I live. Yet not I. You need to be able to understand what the Bible says here. When you are crucified with the Mashiach, it is no longer you that live, but what? But that ruach, that spirit which lives in you is the one that is going to do what? To be controlling you. Listen to what the Bible says here. It said, yet not I, but Mashiach liveth in me, and the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith. This is through faith that you are living. By the faith of the Son of Elohim, who loved me and gave himself for me. This is the real understanding that you need to be able to understand. And gave himself for me. So your life here that you are living, you need to be able to understand that you are living it. Because somebody paid the price for you to do what? To live this life that you are even living in. Because all these your sacrifices that you used to do that were by works, and nobody recognizes it here where you are. But somebody has already paid the price for you to even live here. So the life that you are living here, you are living a borrowed life. Real talk. So how come you're trying to push people back into what? Into the circumcision? This brother was on fire. You people think this is a joke. This is something that you don't understand the magnitude of what was going on. The mission of a higher calling, higher beings. Ain't no dummies. Ain't no dummies. Ain't no dummies. We're talking about resurrecting higher beings. Listen to what the Bible says. I do not frustrate the grace of Elohim. For if righteousness came by Elohim, then the Yahushua is dead in vain. If you people are trying to say that everything that you have to push people through the law of circumcision and bring them back under trying to do everything with their own power, then what is the purpose of your mission? What is the purpose of Yahushua? Then Yahushua came and then in vain. But because if you don't understand the magnitude of what Yahushua came to do, to set you free from the bondage that the law of circumcision want to put you in, that the law of Moses want to put you in, you are to be set free. If the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. Apostle Paul understood this because he was enslaved. He was in bondage of the law. He was under that shackles of the law until his eyes was being opened. Apostle Peter, who was supposed to continue where Yahushua stopped because he was with Yahushua, but what happened? He was asleep. He was too asleep. He was too dozing. He was always sleeping. That was why Yahushua had to separate these people at the right time. One for the Gentiles and one for the people who belong to the circumcision. You people don't know who I am here. I tell you people reality. The separation. Some of them don't understand what the mission is all about. Some are going to really realize and understand when the time is already late. But I'm here to elevate those whose heart are straight and whose mind are prepared despite all odds. For them to be able to be what they really were meant to be, you need to be able to understand, my dear brothers and sisters. The Bible says that I know the thought that I think towards you, the thought of good and not of evil, to do what to give you an expected end. Yahushua's expectation or Yahuwah's expectation is not to enslave you in whatsoever fashion or form. Anybody who is trying to enslave you whatsoever, that individual is somebody who is out of his own lower self. Has veered away, he's asleep, has been infiltrated by some entities. Peter was asleep and then he never knew when the enemy slipped into him. That was why Yahushua prayed for him. Because they've already tried to do what to get him, to sniff him. But Yahushua said, I've prayed for you. I've prayed for you. Because all this while he has been going, he's doing this. But what happened? There's infiltration. The same message that was being given to Apostle Peter was the same one that was being given to Apostle Shaul. But what happened? The infiltration took place among the Apostle Peter. And this is what Apostle Shaul saw, and he's trying to do what flush those ones out. And to elevate those people who are trying to be, who the law of circumcision is trying to engulf. Let those that have ears hear. We're going to continue this particular passage in chapter number 3 of the book of Galatians in regards to the topic of trying to enslave people who are to be freeborn. You need to be able to understand, my dear brothers and sisters. All I say is, in the name of Yahushua, remain strong for those lovers of truth, those truth seekers, those who really are open-minded in order to really grasp the knowledge of truth and be able to understand the mysteries of the things which are already contained in the scripture. They have already made up their mind to go an extra mile, despite whatsoever, to take that bold step. My dear brothers and sisters. Because remember what Yahushua said. If any man will come to me, let him first. You have to deny everything, even including your own stinking self. If you have not yet decided to do so, you've not made up your mind. Did you really know the magnitude of what that means? You think this is a joke? You think this is something that you're going to be? You think is a child's play or whatsoever? Do you know what it means to deny your own self? And take up your stake and do what? And follow me. These are the words of those who really want to really understand the nature of what is going on. And through the Ruach of Yahushua, I was led through the Ruach of Yah to be able to tell to my brothers and my sisters this message so that they will be able to really see from the eyes of Apostle Shaul what the mission or what the message which he wrote to the people of Galatians is. And this is why I've taken it upon me to be able to really express this message in this form. I say to you all, my brothers and sisters, remain strong in the knowledge of Yahushua. I say to you all, Shalom.